Okay, in preparation for trial, we're going to review certain key elements that will be critical for a win. And we're going to start here with the shared components from 2013 to 2017. And we're talking year to date 2017, and it's about October the 15th. And what we're going to do is review the income and the expenses. Now, this will be the historic revenue versus expenses we'll start at 2017 and go backwards to 2013, but the real focus is on 2017 and last year. In 2017, the building was opened going into actually the end of December 2016, and we're open and operational in this year. In 2016, basically, the building was closed at whatever date it closed, I believe sometime in April. But if you take a look at what we have here, this is a chart that shows the key elements. And I try to keep it as simple as possible by saying, you know, the old theory, follow the money. Let's take a look at the cash in versus the cash out, because the SG shared components is really the operations of the building. And the money that we receive basically can only go to the operation of the building, or should only go, and it does only go to the operation of the building. So on the chart at the first line, you see total bank deposits. This is the total amount of money that we received in the operating account at the BB&T Bank for the SG shared components. An example, if you go back to 2013, the revenue was about $648,300. And as we went along up to 2017, where our revenue into the bank is $1,679,417.15. And we got this simply by running a report of the BB&T bank account and looking at the total deposits that went in the bank for any given year. Now, we sort of did the same thing when we looked at, I'm calling it the vendor billings. These are tabulated by the total invoices received from the various vendors. And it follows the same pattern as the bank account. We went in and we looked at the invoices that were recorded into the system that we use. It's called TOPS. It's a management program for buildings. And we did the same thing. From 2013, there was total invoices recorded of $490,844.88. And in 2017, total invoices received and recorded into the system were $3,028,077.72. And basically, these invoices represent the bills that need to be paid for the building. If you look at the last column, you're going to see the total. From the day my company, SG Resorts, or the Schecher Group, purchased the building, in 2013 to 2017, that last column represents the totals for this period of time. And remember that we're doing only year to date for this illustration or exhibit. And we're basically at October the 15th right now, 2017. But you'll see that the total bank deposits received from all sources, and we're going to discuss the sources at a later time in this presentation, was roughly $6.5 million, while the total bills, if you can see it there, are roughly $8.7 million. So you can see that we did not collect enough revenue to pay the bills, which are the operating cost of the building, from the time my company purchased it in 2013 until the present day. We're about $2.1 million short in just paying the basic operational bills. Now, I included a column here. It's called vendors paid. These were the invoices paid. And this basically came from the check register. So let's take a look at this chart and go down. You see on 2017, the total amount of money received was $1,679,417. That's the total put into the bank. The invoices were $3,028,077.72. So this left us a difference of $1,348,660.50. Or basically, we were $1,675,809.92 short of paying our bills. So I also showed down here, and in this example, we don't see an entry for the year 2016. We're in the process of getting that updated. But these are vendor payables. These are the bills that have not been paid. Now, the important thing to note here is when I purchased the building, we did what I call a step into your shoes contract, where basically when I purchased the HU from the prior owner, I stepped into his shoes and I agreed to pay all of the HU payables. And I also agreed to accept, or part of the deal was I would accept all of the receivables. And the receivables being what is owed by owners and or anyone else. So my point here is in 2013, when we took over the building, you'll note that the payables for the building is what obligation I assumed to pay, hopefully with the money I would be collecting from the delinquent owners, was over $500,000. To be exact, it was $647,264.57. So the day I opened my doors, I was already in debt over $500,000, which grew, if you go all the way to the left to see what the column is today. Our unpaid bills, or what the payables due to vendors, is $3,678,393.27. And I can tell you, approximately as we're speaking today, there's less than $180,000 in the bank. And it's only that high because we recently received a new funding advance from the APO lender. So the question becomes, and it will be critical, is the monthly ledger. What are the charges that appear on the owner's monthly ledger? Owners that may have any argument or a dispute, they might want to dispute a charge. The truth of the matter is every owner that had a dispute that came in, it was resolved. And those owners that paid had their late fees waived. And this was an offer given back in 2014, 2015, and as recently as 2016. Any owner that came in and paid up before the end of 2016, we were happy to make an agreement with them to waive any penalties and any of the disputed charges. We reviewed every one of them, and we ended the dispute in a satisfactory way for both the HU owner and the the unit owner. But we took a random sample because basically all of the ledgers have certain things in common, and that's what we're going to talk about here. The ledger HU charges. What are the details? What appears on a ledger? What could somebody dispute? Well, I think to be fair to the unit owner, you could dispute any type of charge, individual specific charge to your unit. If you were charged to have a maintenance guy come in and fix your thermostat, or to fix your sliding glass door, just to name a few, you can dispute that. But in reality, there's very little that can be disputed because these are charges. And let's start at the beginning and work our way down so you can get a better understanding as to what I'm saying. If you look in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to start with what items appear on the ledger. And the first item, this is how it does appear. So you're looking at it exactly how it would appear on the ledger. So you have the HU shared component cost, and that's what the code is up there on the left. And this was entered on 6/1 of 2015, and it showed a dollar amount of $1,038.90. Now, what type of charge it is, in this column, I'm going to tell you what type of charge. Well, this is a monthly recurring charge. The HU shared component is basically the monthly fee the unit owner pays to the HU based upon the annual operating budget of the hotel. The operating costs of the hotel are put into an annual budget, and this annual budget is funded by the individual unit owners in the form of a monthly payment, and it's recurring for the months the budget is in effect. Now, the budget can be adjusted upwards or downwards as required to address the operating cost of the building, but for the most part, you're going to see this item on every ledger for every month, and this is the monthly recurring charge. And in this particular example, it's $1,038.90. And each unit, depending upon the class of the unit, may or may not have a different monthly cost. There is a formula in the condo declarations that details what each unit pays percentage of the budget. Now, the next item is labeled special assessment. And this one appeared on this statement. We took it on 6/1 of 2015, and the amount is $252.60. This entry was also a monthly recurring, and this was a monthly special assessment. It was passed by the Condo Association to fund the special assessment for the FBS construction loan, which was financed by the contractor, who is FBS, for the individual unit owners. So I believe the payments were stretched out over 8 years. It was negotiated by the hotel unit owner with the contractor for the benefit of the individual unit owners. And there was a special assessment account set up when these funds were paid separately. And it's important to note, separately from the HU shared components, the owners cut 2 separate checks, and one went into the special assessment account and one went into the shared components account. The next item we see is emergency SA. Again, this was 6/1 date. It shows $4,651.31. Again, this is a one-time assessment, and this was a special assessment levied by the hotel owner to cover past due bills and other costs that were not included in the annual budget. Costs related to damage repairs to the building resulting from a casualty loss that took place, and other costs that were not in the budget. And there may have been some delinquency deficiencies in here also. But the point being, this was the emergency SA. It was a one-time charge. Next item is attorney's fees. And this one showed up on this particular statement on 8/1 for $474. And this represents what we call a unit specific, again, another one-time charge. And this has to do with attorney's fees specific to this unit, generated by some form of legal action that required an attorney to address whatever it was for this particular unit. The next item is labeled emergency. This is the emergency special assessment of 2016. And this showed up on 3/1 of 16. And for this particular unit, it was $12,103.91. And again, this is a one-time charge. And this was an emergency special assessment excuse me, emergency special assessment required to pay bills critical to the building operations, which included basic services like insurance, gas, water, electric, garbage, and the basic operating costs of the building. It's important to note that a detailed breakdown was provided to owners at the time of the assessment and was also published on the website for all owners to view. But this was an emergency. This was to get funds to pay bills to prevent the building from closing. Now, the next item that appears on some statements is a legal collection fee. On this example, it's dated 11/8/2016, and the amount is $2,500. And it's important to note that this is a one-time fee, but the $2,500 is a fee that was charged to all owners. Yes, this is a one-time fee charged to all owners when they are turned over to collection and or attorneys for collection. This is a flat charge that is applied to the end cost of the collections, including but not limited to attorney's fees, forensic accounting fees, court costs, filing fees, publication fees, as well as any other related collection cost. This was charged to all owners the minute they were turned over to collections. The next item is AC startup fee, and this is 3/22/16 dated on this example, and it's pretty much the same across the board on all ledgers. You're going to see the exact same fees, and this one was $378. Again, it's a one-time fee, and this was associated with the restart up of the air conditioning in the building. And this was a fee charged to the individual unit owners once to cover the cost of the air conditioning contractor to go into their unit, clean out their particular air handler and unit, flush the system, make sure it's clean, because we had just at that time spent, I think it was close to or more than $18,000 just to have the water towers and the cooling systems flushed out, because it was contaminated with the building being closed for as long as it was, and our air conditioning system is a water-cooled system throughout the building. So we could not have the individual units turned back on unless their systems were flushed out and cleaned, and this was a flat fee charged to all owners. The next item, we show an annual audit. And the annual audit is a one-time charge that is related to what the condominium documents allow. At the end of the year, financial shortages can and generally are created when unit owners don't pay, unit owners sells and they move on, leaving a huge balance behind, or a unit gets foreclosed upon by a bank, and the bank wipes out that amount, leaving a huge financial burden for the hotel owner. Well, the condo documents allow this amount to be divided among all owners and proportionally paid. And this is what this item represents. The annual audit is done at the end of every year, and an adjustment is made to cover the financial shortage created by foreclosures and or other miscellaneous things that can cause a financial shortage for the HU. Now, the next item is labeled V adjustment, and the V stands for Velez, dated on 1/1/2017, the current year. And this all relates to, and we say Velez in a loving way, in the sense that she is the board president and the person responsible totally for the administration of the condo association. Unfortunately, her administration created excessive debt for everybody, and the V adjustment is an adjustment resulting from the actions of the board president in imposing additional unbudgeted items onto the HU, creating extra cost. And this was a one-time fee for this adjustment to every owner, depending upon, again, their percentage as prescribed in the condo declarations. Now, the next item is called the V budget adjustment. Again, V stands for Velez, and the budget is the annual budget that is not the HU budget in this case. It's the budget approved by Velez and her board of directors in 2017, which required an immediate adjustment by the HU budget, and it's in the form of this adjustment. Again, it's a one-time adjustment. In this case, it was put on 1 of 2017, and it's a direct result of the budget that Velez passed, which was basically a 700% increase, which is the increase is illegal in the state of Florida because the condo association has a cap as to how much they can increase the budget, but it doesn't seem to bother the Velez board of directors, even when they were presented with a challenge to the budget and an alternative budget that would work just as well. But this resulted in this particular one-time adjustment. Now, the next item is labeled SC-MLP. And this stands for Shared Component Monthly Late Penalty. And again, this is allowed and defined in the condo declarations, and it's been implemented and forced to be implemented by the huge number of owners who absolutely just refuse to pay anything. They may dispute a few things, but they pay nothing. They don't even pay what they don't dispute. So we are forced to follow the condo rules and regulations and the condo declarations. So you'll see this item on the budgets, or excuse me, on the ledgers for 2017. And in this particular case, the MLP is 1825. The next item is bankruptcy legal cost. And this is dated on 6/2 on this statement. And again, this is a one-time, just like the one above it, the S shared components monthly late penalty. It's a one-time penalty, but it recurs every time there's a late. So if you're late this month more than 10 days, you're going to have that penalty. And if you're late the following month more than 10 days, you're going to receive this penalty. And down below, let's get back to this, the bankruptcy LEG CSD, this is bankruptcy legal cost. And again, this is a one-time, it's a unit-specific charge for the cost associated with the ongoing bankruptcy of the condo association. The ongoing bankruptcy of the condo association, even though the association hasn't paid its attorneys yet, and their bills are already probably in excess of $250,000, the legal bills created by Velez are approaching, if not already exceeded, $1 million. So that's the what we're talking about here. When you see this, again, this is a one-time charge, and it's for particular legal cost for this particular unit. Now, the last item on the chart is legal USL. And this is, again, USL is unit-specific legal. This was on 8/10/2017. The amount you can see there is $6,447.67. Unit-specific legal charge. This is for the increasing legal cost related to the unit associated with both foreclosure cases that are taking place and the bankruptcy cases. There were 2 bankruptcy cases. They filed for bankruptcy, then they decided to sue the HU owner in a adversary complaint, both of which the judge has ordered is not taking place right now, but in doing so, it just jacked up the legal fees. As I said, they're approaching close to $1 million. So as the fees increase, you're going to see different charges that have to correspond and be paid. And that's exactly what's happening here. Next, we're going to take a look at monthly ledgers, and we're going to look at how the payments are recorded. Okay, now let's take a look at the monthly ledger, and we just reviewed what charges are going to show up, but now let's review how the payments show up on the ledger. This is an example of another unit taken at random, just a random sample, and this shows some of the payments and how they're going to show up. The first item shows payment received 1, and it's basically the monthly recurring payment that we get from this particular owner. And this owner is a little unique in the sense that he continued to pay, it looks like from this, his monthly assessment, the special assessment that covered the FBS loan. That's what that $241.40 looks like, because down next entry here it says payment received 1A, the same date, and that's $1,615, and that is the monthly recurring HU fee. So he's paying it. The payments go to the lockbox at the BB&T bank, and then get recorded from there to the owner's statements. So prior to the acceleration, when FBS quit, walked off the job, those monthly payments, $241.40, actually resulted in a one-time acceleration, which shows up on the ledger. Example, if there were 10 payments left, that 241 would be multiplied by 10, and a ledger entry would show $2,041 being due for the remaining payments that were due under the contract. So you're going to see the point here is you'll get a ledger, and you'll show generally one monthly payment for assuming the owner's making his payments, one monthly payment recorded to cover the HU fees. The next item is an NSF charge, and again, that's one time depending upon whether checks bounce or wires get screwed up or what have you. But it's rare that we see that, but it is there. Now, the next item is kind of unique. It's payment received, called 2727. And what this was, this represented this particular owner came in and he met with the HU owner, went over his ledger, and he wanted to pay his balance. And what we did here, this is the credit. On January 11th, the owner came in, he made a payment of $25,686.94. It was a one-time payment, and it basically paid off his balance. And down below, you're going to see payment received from the hotel. But before we do that, I skipped one here because the next item is really the payment received, and it shows HU credit. And that is on the 18th of January on this particular example, and it's for $8,849. And the critical thing here is when this owner came in and paid on January 11th, we agreed to wipe out the late penalties and charges or certain things. So there was an adjustment made. So his balance was $33-some thousand, and a combination of his payment and the credits for the late fees wiped his balance out to zero. Now, on the bottom, and this is unique, those units that are on the hotel program, part of their monthly assessment to the HU owner is paid through the hotel program. And the hotel basically cuts a check, one check for the monthly revenue generated by the hotel program for all of the owners combined. And then the HU or the shared component takes that check and divides it into the statement. So let's say, for example, in the month of February, a check came in for $30,000, but $1,300 of the $30,000 was applied to this particular owner's statement because he's on a financial guarantee contract where he collects $1,300 a month from the hotel company for placing his unit in the hotel. And here that money is used to offset his cost of ownership at the 60/60. Now, let's take a look at the revenue sources. Where does the revenue come from for the shared components? It basically comes from three things, right now, at least in 2018. But in reality, all revenue for the hotel, for the building, the operational costs of the building come from one place, or should. And that one place is from the unit owners. The HU revenue source is the unit owners. If you read your condominium documents, this is pretty clear. And the important thing to note about the condominium documents, everybody received them at the time of purchase, and everybody, by acceptance of their deed, agreed to abide by them. And we're in a financial crisis today because the majority of owners seem to have what we call buyer's remorse. They're sorry they bought here, and they're basically paying nothing. But we're going to do an in-depth study at another report to show you where the revenue comes from. But it's critical to know that the source of revenue to keep the building open and operational is supposed to come from the owners. And when it doesn't come from the owners, it becomes a problem. We have three sources of revenue. We have fees coming from owners that are not on the hotel program, and I believe there are one or two of them that are actually paying. Then we have fees coming from the hotel operator who pays the fees generated by the hotel program on behalf of the owners who are participating in the hotel program. Now, the problem with this is that the owner's monthly maintenance, their HU fee, is more than what is generated in hotel revenue. The hotel revenue should only offset it, and the financial crisis becomes larger every year for the HU owner because these owners are not paying the difference. So you have one group of owners not on the hotel program that are paying absolutely nothing. You have the other group of owners that are on the hotel program that are allowing their hotel revenue to be applied to reduce their maintenance, but they're not paying the mandatory difference. Now, to address this critical problem, we were able to secure funding from the APO, and the APO provided, as we speak, as of this report, which is around October 15, 2017, that the APO funding totaled $2,115,000. Now, originally, this was set up as an interest-only loan, and the purpose of that is it would give us the lowest possible monthly payment. Now, worse than that, what developed was some people complained, well, it's 18% interest. Well, yes, it is 18% interest, but when it was done, it's a high-risk loan. And to prove it's high risk, right after the loan was made, I think close to 8 or 9 months went, if not longer, without a single payment being made. And the APO contract did not allow for late penalties. There were no late penalties imposed for late payments. So, unfortunately, we were stuck, but getting the 18% loan, we had no other option. Yet, it's a good option when you consider the risk involved for the lender and the fact that without it, the building would still be closed and would never have opened at all. So these are some of the factors that we need to consider, and these are things that I'm sure are going to come up in trial.